guests on their interview.
Late night vibes, we're turning up the heat. T-Will on the mic, can't accept defeat. My ATL sports show, he's running the game. Atlanta Falcons fly high, you know the name. In the heart of the A, where the pride runs deep. From the Braves to the Falcons, he's keeping it real, no sleep. He's got the scoop, every player, every play. Bringing the thunder every single day. T-Will, shining bright on the airwaves, bringing sports tonight. Atlanta heart with the soul so free. My ATL sports show, it's the place to be. T-Will, taking flight. Falcons and Braves, yeah, we're feeling right. So bring that energy, let the city resonate. With T-Will on the mic, we're gonna celebrate.
Welcome, everybody, to What the Falcon and Home of the Brave. I'm here with my guy, Scott Karasic, like Jurassic. How you doing, brother? You all right?
I'm doing good, man. Oh, dude, Dixon's here.
Yes, Dixon Wade is here.
I see him on TikTok a bunch and just big fan of his work. He's a good listen on TikTok when he's watching games and stuff. And like, you can't really watch the game because of digital rights and stupid stuff.
He's a great listen. He's multi-talented. He does everything. Like literally does everything. Does the calls for the Braves, Hawks, Falcons. Probably got to do a checkers game when we leave here. I mean, the guy does work on, everybody. So he's awesome. What up, Dixon Way? How you doing, brother? Hopefully all is well tonight. Scott, man. Welcome back. Hadn't seen you in a week. How you been, bro?
I've been good. Just been grinding out at work.
I heard that, man. I heard that. Sometimes you got to get your grind on. Well, sir, welcome. Let's get to it. First things first, we got to go around the NFL.
Okay.
And let's talk about these Dolphins, because the Falcons are talking about potentially getting Jalen Ramsey. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I'm sorry. Sometimes analysts will see, Jalen and Raheem know each other, so the trade's going to happen, and there's nothing to it, and you don't know. So Jalen Ramsey wants to be traded. Another thing that's interesting is 2-3 years ago, this Miami Dolphins team was great. Okay? They were great. They were the next up-and-coming offense, and all of a sudden, they fell off a cliff. Scott, you know way more about offenses and defenses than I do. What happened? I mean, did the league just adjust to what they were doing, or what happened? Help me out.
You know my favorite saying about how to win in the NFL? Fat guys win championships.
Okay.
And their offensive line has been terrible the last 2 years. And
okay.
When your offensive line is bad, your offense is bad. When your offensive line is good, your offense is good. It's not that hard. You need two things to truly succeed on offense in the NFL: a good O-line and a good quarterback. Because the rest of it you can plug in. You can have an average running back like a Tyler Algier, but if you've got a good offensive line, he's going to look like a great running back. And I'm not knocking Tyler Algier. He's an average NFL starter level running back. But the Falcons had a great line, so he looked above average.
Okay.
That's all you need, though. If you have average wide receivers, average running back, a good quarterback, and a good to great offensive line, you're going to be in the top 10 in points scored every year.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. We got DSGB in the chat as well. He says, "What's good, fellas? What up, DSGB? How you doing, man? Hopefully all is well this evening." So offensive line sucks. I guess there's no way around it.
Their defense is terrible.
Yeah, their defense is pretty bad. And did they draft? Did they get better in the draft? Did they get better in the offseason, or is it pretty much status quo?
I think they got better, but it's not going to show up this year, and that's why Jalen Ramsey wants out. Also, Jalen Ramsey doesn't get along very well with Mike McDaniel. So the shtick doesn't work for Mike McDaniel for everybody. There are people that love it. There are people like, man, this clown. And Jalen Ramsey's in that latter camp. It never really worked for him. So he's a football player. He's going to give his all, but I don't see him playing for the Dolphins this year. Honestly, I don't know if he plays for the Rams this year either. I don't know who is going to trade for him. The Steelers are jumping in to that whole market now too. I wouldn't be shocked if the Falcons jumped in on the market, but at the same time, it would mean that either Kevin King is moving to safety full time, which that could be very well the case.
Wait, Kevin King is playing. Wait, hold up. You lost me. Is he playing for the Dolphins or for the Falcons?
Kevin King's playing for the Falcons.
Okay.
But if they bring in Jalen Ramsey, Kevin King is not playing cornerback in Atlanta anymore. He's moving full-time to safety, and they will cut a guy like Benny Sapp or whoever the guy is that they cut, who they replace Benny Sapp with.
Okay.
They're going to cut that guy and have Kevin King be that fifth safety on the depth chart. Fifth, sixth safety on the depth chart for training camp, because he played more snaps at safety last year than he played at corner.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Okay. Wow. Okay. You taught me something new today. Carlo says, what's up, family? What up, Carlo? Craig, hashtag Monkeygate. What's up? I would take either Jalen or Alexander. I think I'd take Jalen because Jair stays hurt. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one, but Jair has more of an injury history, I'd say. I'd be a little afraid of that. But well, Scott, give me your thoughts. Jair, Jalen, who you taking?
I'm taking Jalen.
Okay.
Mainly because Jair just got his PCL torn this past year, and that's the outer ligament on the outside of the knee.
Yep.
That's like the one you use to actually do all your cuts. ACL is important for the stability of the knee. That's why people get worried about it. But that PCL is like a functional, important ligament. So while I love Jair Alexander and his play, I don't think he's the same guy in 2025. So if I did bring in Jair Alexander, I wouldn't touch him for more than 1.5, 2 million on a true prove it deal with incentives that if he played, 13 games, he gets $5 million. If he plays all 16 games or all 17 games, he gets $10 million. And I would structure it that way because it's like, hey, if you play all 17 games, you're worth 17 million. If you play 13 games, you're worth 6.5. And then if you can't play 13 games, you're worth 1.5 to me. So that, and what's nice about a contract structure like that is you set it to just one game past what he played last year. So if it's 7 games he played last year, you set it to 8 games. Okay. Because then it's not likely to be earned. And if it does pay out, it pays out on the cap next year. And you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. That's fair. I can dig it. Craig is in the chat. Craig says, I agree, but the other's younger, but Jalen is a dog. Dixon Way says, yeah, the Packers don't let good players unless they are hurt, or don't let them go unless they are hurt or past their primes. T. Terry says, what's up, fellas? What up, T. Terry? Hopefully all is well. Okie doke. Well, let's get into the Titans. Look, everything we're hearing from their camp is that Cam Ward is really looking good. The ceiling for him, according to them, is very high. Give me your thoughts on that. You think Cam Ward is the next great star in the NFL, or are they blowing smoke?
I think he's going to be an above-average quarterback for a part of his career, maybe, if everything clicks. I don't know how well he really fits in Callahan's offense. Honestly, I wasn't super high on him. Like, I was like, oh, he could be a starter. He could be a regular starter early for like 7-8 years. I just don't see a guy who is going to be more than that. That being said, I'll be happy to be wrong, but I just don't see a franchise long-term number one quarterback, which a multi-year starter is still worth a first-round pick. I had a late first on him. So I'm still kind of defaulting to that because to me, until I see him in the games against actual NFL competition, I really don't care what a dude does playing against his own players in minicamp.
Okay. Fair enough. We're going to get into a little trivia right here. So, first trivia question to the chat as well to you, Scott. The Atlanta Falcons selected Matt Ryan with which overall pick in the 2008 draft?
Third.
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
And do you want the two players taken before him, Jake Long and Chris Long?
Real? They came out the same year?
Jake Long was drafted number 1 overall that year. Chris Long was drafted number 2 overall. Jake Long went to the Dolphins. Chris Long went to the Rams. I'm saying like St. Louis. What was St. Louis back in the day? It was the Rams.
Are they twins or no?
No, they're not even related.
Okay, I know Jake has a brother. Okay. All right, that's what threw me.
Wait, Chris Long is Howie Long's kid.
Long's son. Okay, but he has a brother, right?
He has a brother.
Okay.
Jake Long may have a brother. I don't know.
I got you. Okay. Okay.
Jake's
That's what threw me.
Random dude compared to the other guys.
Okay. All right. We got LBB, Little Big Brother, better known as my brother Eric Parker in the chat. What up, Eric? How you doing? All right. Next trivia question. Julio Jones led all players in the 2011 NFL Combine in what competition?
I want to say 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.38.
He did, but that was the third fastest. Close.
Okay. Short shuttle.
Huh?
Probably a short shuttle. I'm pretty sure he was sub 4 on that. And if it wasn't that, it was his 3-cone.
Okay. Think about the 2016 Super Bowl and that pass that Matt Ryan threw.
It was Julio,
his broad jump.
Broad jump. Okay.
His broad jump. Yeah. His broad jump.
I was going to say because his vert wasn't that great, but because he had like a 37-inch vert, which, I mean, that's still insane, but compared to like everything else, I would have never guessed it was his broad jump.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Michael Turner set a school rushing record at which university?
Northern Illinois.
That is correct, sir. That is correct. And StreamYard is StreamYarding again. Okie doke. Let's go. Let's keep it going. All righty. So, word on the street is Michael Penix Jr. has looked great. Has looked really great in training camp. And, of course, he's running around with his own guys. So, Everybody has a plan and, you know the rest. But again, in listening to that and in listening to a lot of sports analysts, they are saying that the connection between Mooney and Penix is growing and look for him to be used in a multitude of ways. And his receptions and or usage may go up. I know we kind of briefly dabbled on that last week, but give me your thoughts on that. And not only that, give me your thoughts on what they could do with him more creatively, on how they could accomplish this.
I mean, you can do pretty much anything with Mooney that you want to take advantage of his speed, right? So go routes, corners, posts, obviously those are going to be in play all day long. Deep outs, deep digs, those are going to be in play all day long. The thing that you may not expect from Mooney as much is maybe they do a screen here or there to Mooney. Get the ball in his hands, have some guys blocking for him. Maybe with Mooney, you do a short crossing route, short drag, something like that you would normally expect from a bigger receiver like a London or even a Pitts. And I think we're going to see 3 1,000-yard receivers here in Atlanta this year.
It definitely could happen. It definitely could happen.
Mooney and Pitts.
Okay.
I still believe in Pitts.
Oh,
I
I
still,
believe in him. I definitely believe in him. I no doubt about that. I don't have any issue. I think Pitts is gonna do it. I
I
do.
think.
I be if for nothing. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. But now that we're here,
I was there
Scott,
last night.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that. So we'll get back to Pitts in a minute. But man, this looks delicious. Take us through what this is
So that's a beef
and how you
tenderloin.
prepared it. You said what?
It's a beef tenderloin,
Okay.
and I basically took the beef tenderloin. I put lemon pepper all on the outside, and then put it in the oven for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. In between that, just kind of based off feel, and then I made a miso caramel glaze and poured it on top and let that coat for about another 5 minutes. It was good. The smashed potatoes are easy. It's just those little red potatoes.
Yeah.
You just make them like regular old mashed potatoes and leave the skins in. We call those smashed potatoes.
Well, I just wanted you to know you made me hungry when I was looking at this earlier. So that's why I took a picture of it, because it's your fault. It looked delicious, man. Craig says his and Looney's chemistry is growing because he knows Pitts is going,
Pitts isn't
or
going
he
anywhere.
said gone.
I'm telling you
Yeah,
right now,
well,
he's not going anywhere.
it's a high probability that it's not going anywhere,
It's
unless he
like a
just balls out completely.
99% chance he's staying in.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. Dixon Wayne says, "Are you guys going out to training camp this summer? Me and the wifey will be there on the first 3 days of camp. I probably will catch 1 or 2 days. I can't do it like my brother, who goes all out every day. But I probably will maybe do 1 to 3 days. What about you, Scott?
It's a hike for me, but I would maybe a Saturday that's in there.
Okay.
Get out there real early. Leave my wife at the house or to do whatever she wants to do that day. But I mean, more than likely 1 day max for me. If I go out, it's going to be 1 day.
Yeah. Look, I got work, and I got so much going on, man. I can't, because I know Jack is going out, and Jack will be there
probably every day.
But I probably will catch maybe 1, maximum 3 days. So
I don't know what part of town you're in, but I'm in Marietta, and it's a good hour and a half to get up there for me.
Bro, I am in the boonies. I'm damn near Macon. So
I'm
in the
gotcha.
boonies. I'm about 45 minutes from Macon. Let's put it that way.
So you're out by the racetrack. Got it.
Yeah, I'm out here, man. I am out here. T. Terry says MPJ and Ray Ray are close. Both are from Tampa. I did not know that. Okay, I learned something new today. All right, so let's talk about these Falcons rookies, man. I read an article today, and the writer, journalist was basically giving us the update on, I believe, the 6 rookies or whatever that we took. And Jalen Walker, I believe the comment was one where it was professional. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to practice. He definitely has been able to get around, certain offensive linemen and what have you. Just looks polished and looks ready. Now, the comments on James Pierce were interesting. And basically what it equated to was that James Pierce Jr. is raw.
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. That was obvious in my eval of him. But even though he's raw, he still has a somewhat refined set of skills that can be used for pass rush early in his career.
Agreed.
He'll be very impactful in pass rush. The rawness for him comes out when he's dropping in coverage, when he's playing the run. Like, I personally wouldn't play James Pierce a ton unless it's a third down pass rush situation, at all. Just because I want him to get after the quarterback this year. Walker, on the flip side, can do it all already. He's not the best in coverage, but he's decent enough. And I think Walker probably has more coverage potential than, say, Caden Ellis. And I think long-term, Walker's probably your Mike or your your Sam Mike kind of combo that I think they're going to use Caden Ellis a lot at this year. So
Okay, that's fair. He basically said that he was working with Jerry Gray and Leonard Floyd, which he should be, but he also said that his physical tools are readily apparent. So that goes along in the face of what you're saying. Now, this was interesting to me, and this was the update on Xavier Watts. He says he wasn't on the field with 11 on 11 drills. He was off by himself today, just running his own drills, right? However, Billy Bowman was on the field, was with the starters on 11 on 11.
It sounds like you're providing an update on two football players, Xavier Watch and Billy Bowman. Based on your statement,
shut up.
Xavier Watch was not participating in
I don't
11-on-11
care.
drills,
Stop
but was
it,
doing
Jesus.
individual drills by himself.
I'm about to start turning these tablets off, man. It's ridiculous. It's the second time. Did it happen last week with us? Was that me and you? Okay. And it's a lengthy one. Like, this dude won't shut up.
Bowman, so from what I've heard, Bowman is basically the starting nickel already, which I'm telling you right now, in training camp, that's going to be the quickest fight that they have in training, quickest camp battle they have. Because when they drafted Billy Bowman, Ulbrich was ecstatic, and that's who they wanted for their nickel. So Bowman's going to start at nickel. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Xavier Watts sitting out to the side doesn't mean anything this early. Like I said, It's minicamp.
So nothing to read into that then?
If this was 4 weeks into training camp, absolutely read into it, right?
Okay.
We haven't hit training camp yet.
Okay.
You can read into a young guy already getting reps with the ones. Be like, okay, they're pretty much prepping this to be Bowman's spot. As far as the flip side of it, like, hey, Xavier Watts is on the sidelines doing some specific drills because they want him to get better at a couple things before he gets to training camp so he can really get after it and be in that free safety argument.
Okay.
So I think by game 5, we're going to have 4 rookies in essentially key roles on defense. Walker's going to start. Bowman and Watts are going to start. You know, your Sam linebacker, your nickel, and your free safety. And then I think Pierce is going to be your key pass rusher. But Bowman's just the kind of player that you want like 7 of, right? Gives up his body, doesn't care about it. Think Casey, but like way better in coverage.
Okay.
And big enough to actually make hits and not die. He's not 5'9", 170 pounds. He's like 5'11", 210. So he's like big enough to lay those hits in and make them impactful.
And take the impact. I got you.
Exactly.
I got you. We got Mike in the chat. Mike says, "Shouty, what's going on, Mike? How you doing?" Dixon Way says, "No problem." For my ATL Sports 1, Mike says, "We're always listening." Dixon Way says, "Bowman is a dog."
That he is.
Dixon Way says, "I love what Raheem did in the draft, but we need to see it on the field." Yes, we do.
This will translate.
Raheem and Terry. Craig says, "Kirk going to end up being our head coach." Laugh out loud. Mike says, "Pause." Mike is stupid. Okay. All right, we're gonna shift gears. Oh, Mike.
So I just want to throw this in there. A lot of people are talking about this draft and are we going to have a bunch of starters from this draft? I do want to point out the Falcons are going to have a lot more impact from last year's draft this year.
Yeah, you got Trice, you got
Trice, Rook, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking about somebody else too. Trice, Rook. It was 3 of them. Trice, Rook. Who's the other one? Dorless.
Trice, Rook, and Dorless are going to have a big impact, and then Penix is going to have a big impact.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're getting 2 classes this year. You might even see some impact from Casey Washington outside of special teams.
We will see. Good question. Thank you for bringing that up. Do you think Nick Nash sees the field this year? Or do you think he's one of the 6 we keep?
I think we keep 7.
Okay.
I think he's number 7.
Okay.
I don't think he's active unless there's an injury.
Who are the other 6?
Your top 4 are locked in. So
Yep.
you've got London, Mooney. You've got Ray. I was gonna say what's Ray Ray's last name, but Ray McLeod. And then you've got Cadero.
Yep.
Those guys, 100% locked in, no questions asked. Don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I think Agnew is locked in as your returner.
Okay. That's 5. I got
So
you.
that's 5.
Casey Washington is 6.
Casey Washington is 6. Nick Nash is 7.
Got you. Okay. That makes sense.
Now, I
That
think
makes
Agnew
sense.
is more like your truly functional wide receiver 6 or 7.
Okay. All right.
But he's probably not seeing the field on offense. He wasn't drafted to see the field on offense.
That's fair. That is fair. Mike says Terry told you drafting for the future, and the future is now. Dixon Way says, is Troy Anderson just a special teams player at this point? No, I don't think so.
So hear me out on this. I wouldn't be surprised if Troy Anderson is in on the field instead of Caden Ellis in some games.
Say what?
In some packages. I think Divine Diablo gets the green dot this year. I think that Divine Diablo has been someone that Ulbrich has wanted to have as his green dot for probably 3 years over in New York, and just hasn't been able to get a hold of him because the Raiders wouldn't trade him. Now that he's in Atlanta, I think we see Divine Diablo kind of break out and go off. And I think that means that Caden Ellis gets to come out on some of those coverage spots where, or they throw 3 linebackers and Caden moves to more of an edge hybrid position.
That's what I was thinking.
And Troy and Divine are the coverage linebackers out there in your dime and nickel sets in that 32 type, 32, 33 set that they run. When I say 33, it's 2 linebackers and 2 off-ball linebackers and an edge. Yeah. Your third linebacker is really an edge. It's really more like a 4-2, but one of the guys is standing up. One of those kinds of sets. And you're going to see a lot of that on third down. But they really love Divine. And, they love the guy. So it would not shock me to see him with a green dot. And honestly, I like that better than putting Caden Ellis out there and getting 150 tackles with 75 of them 5 yards down the field.
Okay.
Again,
that's fair.
Caden Ellis is decent. He's just not good in coverage. So
he's a better rusher. He's a much better rusher. Much better rusher. Yeah.
But with Anderson out there and Caden Ellis out there, you could have some interesting sets where Divine is what he is. He's not blitzing. Anderson can blitz.
Yeah.
Anderson can play in coverage. Where Anderson kind of screws up is against the run.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's your nickel guy you sub out for Caden, you've honestly upgraded 2 linebacker spots by having Divine Diablo on the roster in the first place. And you get to have more Anderson out there because Anderson, let's be honest here, he has a problem getting hurt.
He does. He has a big problem getting hurt.
Has a big problem getting hurt.
So, if he can stay healthy, we'd be all right.
Yeah. If Troy and Divine can stay healthy all year, they could be the fastest linebacking core in the league because they both run 4.4, 4.45 range.
All right. That's fair. All right, Scott, we got to shift gears. We got to, oh boy, it's that time in the show where we have to talk about our much bandied about Atlanta Braves. Michael says, I think Diablo makes the Sherwood type jump this year. Could be.
Agreed.
Let's look at these Braves. We did win the series against the Brewers over the weekend. But looking at what we have left, we've got 96 games left. Of the 96 games that we have left, we need to win at least 60, which means we have to win every 2 out of 3 games. We got to have some spots where we go 10-2 a couple of times. I don't know if I see this team doing that. Give me your thoughts on that, Scott, because I honestly, I want to see it. I've been watching the Braves for 45, 47 years. I just, well, okay, let's take a step back. I don't want to be negative Nancy. Let's talk about the positives. Number one, Ronald Acuna, fire. Great. Number two, Sale, looking like a number one starter. Number two, all Schwell that in Schwell. Schwelly is that dude. He went 9 innings yesterday. He went old school. Last 3 starts, at least 9 strikeouts. Schwelly is getting it done, sir. Schwelly is officially turning into, mama, there goes that man again. Now, that being said, Strider's trying to come back into form. Do you think Strider ever gets back to throwing 97, 98? Or is this the new Strider and he's got to learn to figure out how to pitch at 95, 94?
I think Strider needs to make a couple phone calls to John Smoltz because that's where his stuff's at right now.
Okay.
Now, his last start, he heavily relied on the fastball and the slider, and that made a big difference for him. He stopped trying to get cute with his curve and his changeup. I think the smartest thing Strider could do is add a cutter to his pitch.
He's going to have to. He's going to
get rid of his curveball.
Or a sweeper. I know he's got a curve. Do you think he could develop a sweeper? And to those of you in the chat, a sweeper is essentially, it's a big ass curveball that goes from east to west or west to east. So it's going from California all the way to Georgia or Georgia all the way to California.
So there's pronators, which is like boom.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's supernators, which are more over the top of the ball.
Yep.
A cutter would work for him.
Okay.
A sweeper, which is like a slurve, you've got to come from that angle.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for him.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he would be if I was his catcher and saying, hey, let's figure this out, let's figure out a pitch this coming off season, you're like, dude, fastball, cutter, slider is what you need to do. Your fastball at 95, 96, your cutter at 93, 94, and your slider at 86 to 88 is that right there should be where he's living, and then have just a circle change for him to come through with.
Yeah. So
that'd be the best.
I'm going to try and make this digestible for so for those of you out there who follow baseball, but you don't know what pronating or supernating is. Pronating is your follow through with your wrist turning in, and supernating is your follow through with your wrist turning out, right?
Or down.
I'm sorry, down. So that's the difference. T. Terry says Acuna is getting real hot, and he is. Dixon Way says Ozzy is hot now. I hope. Well, and Ozzy's so streaky, right? Because Ozzy will hit for about 30 days, hit 15 home runs, then go cold. But he really hasn't had a hot streak. It would be great if we could get 5 guys to going at the same time. Because realistically, Scott, we're gonna need about 3 streaks of 10-2. And I just don't know. Like, if Strider can get it together,
or just like 120-game win streak,
then you're okay. Or because that happens every day, right?
I mean, the Bobby Cox years that happened a bunch.
Yeah, this ain't these times, my friend. So you threw me with that 20-game win streak. Okay. Elder's been good, man.
He's a 5th starter.
Elder's been 3rd starter status, at least. Now, the question is, can he maintain that? And I just don't know. And then
the way Elder and Holmes have been pitching, they've been pitching like 3-4 guys. Well, we have 2 aces. We have Sale and Schwelly.
We do.
And Strider has been pitching like a 5th starter for the last few weeks. But you know what? Let him be the 5th starter for now, because once Strider fully figures this shit out, and he will, because he's Strider. Once he figures his shit out, he's going to be at least the number 2 starter. So if you got 2 aces, a 2, and then 2 3s, you got a good group. And even if Elder is just what he is now for the rest of his career, that's a solid third guy, fourth guy in a rotation anywhere else.
Yeah.
But here he'd be our 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Dixon Way says Strider had the brace rehab instead of Tommy John. Most likely the velocity of 99 to 100 is gone. In my opinion, he lives 95, 96 now. I agree with Scott 100%. So do I. Dixon Way says, look, T-Will, I told you peanut butter comes back, Acuna jelly. It will get active, Ozzy. And he did. And he did. So Dixon Way, myself, and either Chris or Debo or somebody were talking about it. And he says, you know, when Acuna gets back, Ozzy's going to get active. Ozzy's going to be better. And that's true. That is very, Ozzy does play better when Acuna comes back. I don't know what it is.
He really does.
But there is something to it. Dixon Way says, don't ask me why or how, but it is the pattern. You are 100% correct, sir.
Best
All right.
friend.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, I got to ask you this. And I think it's a foregone conclusion for everybody in Braves country and everybody in this chat and you and me and everybody we know. I don't think Snit is coming back next year. I think the Braves are going to give him another position. Next year is his 50th, so I don't think they'll fire him. They'll probably just assign him somewhere else, right? But speaking of how you treat former players and coaches who have given you a lot of time, this past week, Craig Kimbrell was called up for one game and then sent down. This did not go over well with a lot of fans. This did not go over well with some players. Give me your thoughts on this, and more specifically, how do you view this front office now? Because I am starting to see cracks in the foundation, but give me your thoughts.
Craig Kimbrell didn't pitch that well in that game. I'm going to be kind of a hot take artist here in y'all's view, but I don't think he performed well enough to stay at the major league level.
I guess my argument, no, I hear you, but I don't think he's any worse than what you have. And I guess my first thought is, why bring him up?
Montero?
Right. Why bring him up? If you were just going to do that anyway, why bring, again, this isn't just some guy. This guy, I think he's number 4 all time on saves, and a lot of them he did with your team. Like, I think that was disrespectful. I don't know if that was the intention, but I think that was disrespectful. And I think if you were going to do that, you probably should have just said, look, we're not going to bring you up. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought it was a bad look. And for me, for this management team, and I'm talking about Alex Anthopoulos, the hits keep on coming, right? So if we go to the end of last year, Alex says, hey, the payroll's going to go up. It didn't. Alex says, hey, I'm perfectly fine with Soler being here with Ozuna. Trades him the first day. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't trade him. I'm just saying what comes out of his mouth versus what he does, they're not allowing. They're not aligning. He also said, hey, I love the coaching staff. 3 of them gone within the first month. So you add that up, plus the fact that you didn't go out and get a reliever. Now, that may not be on Alex. That may be on Terry McGurk. Because ultimately, Terry's the guy who says you can or cannot do it. And I really think, although the Braves are not talking, I really think they wanted to get under that threshold. They didn't want to go into the 3rd year doing it for whatever reason. Go ahead. You look like you want to say something. Go ahead.
I agree there that it's probably on Terry McGurk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't blame AA as much. I will say I don't think Kimbrell was good enough to keep up. The stunt was kind of messed up the way they did it. They should have kept him up for like a week and then been like, hey, he just hasn't really been that good. So now we're going to DFA him. That would have made a lot more sense, right?
Yeah.
So For me, it's just more. It's more about the way they did it.
Yeah, agreed.
What they did.
Agreed 100%.
Because like Kimbrel he wasn't good. Like
no,
just,
he's
he
lost
wasn't
it.
good. He's not Kimbrel anymore.
He's not. He's not. Father Time is undefeated. He's not.
You're but
right
you get rid of Craig and then you do what? Bring up some random dude from AAA? Like not even Dennis Dodd. You bring up some other random dude from AAA. I like Dennis Dodd or whatever the Dodd kid's name.
Is it Dylan? Is it Dylan?
Dylan Dodd.